Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X research and professional physicist. And today I'd like to bring to you another one of my articles. This one is entitled The Artificial Sun and Alien Technology. Now recently Urbain LeVerrier sent me some video footage showing lasers interacting with a gas which was emitting pink light and must have therefore been ionized. Even though the video footage was interspersed with images of Earth from the ISS, and there appears to be evidence that any such footage may in fact be fake, and you may look at article 350 entitled "Why is video of Earth from the ISS produced in a studio?" The gaseous plasma looks very real and suggests that it is video footage of a process which is associated with an artificial sun. Some screenshots of that footage appear here. As you can see, this looks very pink here. It looks almost purple there. You can see the laser beams here. And you can see that an interface appears there. And another one there. And actually two there. Now, here are images of sun simulators in the sky. And you can see this one is emitting a laser beam toward the ground, and this one is surrounded by a pink glow. And these images come from a video by GFP, who has done incredible research on the simulators and the lens arrays that work alongside them. The simulators shown give themselves away as simulators because they are not perfectly circular or yellow as the real sun would be. The fact that the one on the left is observed emitting the laser beam suggests that it is an actual physical device in the sky. The simulator on the right is surrounded by that pink glow, which suggests that it may be surrounded in the type of pink light emitting plasma we saw in figure 1. If this device uses ionized gas to emit light, then it is emitting light through a method which is similar to how the real sun works, as the real sun produces an electrical potential between its surface and outer layer, which then causes its atmosphere to become ionized to the point that it goes into plasma arc mode. In other words, it discharges continuously, thus emitting light. At least that is what it used to do before the Planet X system stellar cores removed the sun's outer layer of electrons or corona to the point that it could no longer emit light. And you may look at article 418 entitled Planet X Dust Replacing the Sun's Corona and Earth's Atmosphere. But they are also holographically projected simulations of the sun, and you can see examples of that here. And this is from video footage taken from an airplane. It comes from a YouTube video by Sazwar Bhakti. And here you could see what seemed to be the sun within cloud. And it was strange that this sun actually seemed to remain in the same position as the plane flew in the sky. So the fact that we have an image of a sun, obviously it's not the real sun because it's in the atmosphere. We have an image of the sun which is three-dimensional. It occupies a three-dimensional volume, and therefore a three-dimensional image is a holographic projection. So this is a holographically projected sun inside our atmosphere. And here is another example. It's most likely the same type of simulation of the sun, and here we could see an airplane flying right through it. And the airplane, when it got closer to the simulation of the sun, became much larger. And this means that there is some kind of magnifying lens technology that works with these simulations of the sun. So again, it was a three-dimensional object occupying a three-dimensional space, and it was not the real sun, it was an image of the sun. So it's a holographic projection. That's what a holographic projection is. It's a three-dimensional image which does not need a screen. It can be projected into any three-dimensional space. So we have both holographic projected simulation of the sun and actual physical devices which may even operate somewhat like the sun, i.e. artificial suns in operation in the Earth's atmosphere. Now, I initially thought that at least part of the simulation system was outside the Earth's atmosphere and thus in orbit. Now, after observing the simulation system breaking down over Switzerland, I think that it is inside the Earth's atmosphere. And on January 14, 2018, the sky was observed to remain dark until 10:10 a.m. in Switzerland, where it should have been up soon after 8 a.m. Now, it is possible for one web camera to break down, but for 3 to break down and have exactly the same area at the same time is extremely unlikely, if not impossible. In one of the cameras, and you may look at article 423 for more details on that. Now, in one of the cameras, star constellations were observed to freeze in their middle of the night positions. The sky can only freeze if the sky is a simulation, and if the devices creating the sky simulation are rotating with the Earth, and must therefore be inside the Earth's atmosphere. And here are 2 images. This one's from 10 a.m. This is from 8:20 a.m., where you can see the sky is exactly the same. You can even see constellations in the sky. You can see a shooting star, exactly the same position, but the 2 images are clearly different. I have brightened them, and they are different because this cloud here in the 2 images is different. Obviously, the cloud moved between the times that these images were taken. You can see that the cloud is not as thick here as it is over there, same position. You can see there's this reddish blob there, more of a reddish light there, which we don't see there. So clearly the clouds are different. There are other small differences. There is a slightly different shape to this fog that we see here illuminated by this light as well, but this is the main difference. Obviously, these photographs were not taken at the same time. So the clouds in the front of the hill are clearly different, and this indicates the photographs were taken at different times. And so this is not a result of the camera freezing. We would not expect the same images to have different time stamps anyway if the camera had frozen. If the camera freezes, then we would simply expect the photographs it was supposed to take after freezing to simply not be there. But the cloud shifted and changed, indicating the images were taken at different times, and yet the night sky above the hill is exactly the same. And the only explanation for that then is that the sky actually froze. And the only way the sky can freeze is if it is a simulation. And this means that the sky froze over this region. And it means that the simulation is produced by a set of simulation equipment which is in the atmosphere and is in that region itself. So it's a local simulation of the sky or over a certain region. Now here are the photographs from 10 a.m. and 10:10 a.m. As you can see, I've already established that these are real photographs which the camera took. So the night sky was pitch black, middle of the night sky at 10 a.m. and suddenly 10 minutes later the sun appears in the sky in its correct position. And this indicates that, of course, there is no real sun behind the sun simulator, because if there had been a real sun, then by 10 a.m. the sun would have risen in the sky. At this time in January in Switzerland, the sun is supposed to come up by 8:12 a.m., something like that. So by 10 a.m. the real sun would have come up. It didn't do so. So that means there's no actual sun shining. There is no sun, no real sun behind the sun simulator. I mean, the sun is there, it's just not emitting visible light. And you can see then what occurred there. So this is our simulation of the sun and the sky, which suddenly turned on at 10:10 a.m. and it shows that the sky simulation failed sometime during the night, and it turned back on at 10:10 a.m. Now, as I said, this could not have been an error of the camera, but we can tell that it was not an error of the camera further because it occurred with another 2 cameras. And this is a camera at Gebensdorf, and the same thing occurred at exactly the same time. At 10 a.m. we had a night sky. You can see a star there. And at 10:10 we had a daylight sky, very cloudy, overcast, but definitely a daylight sky. So in 10 minutes we have this kind of change occurring to the sky. And so the same thing occurred here as with the Montreux camera, the previous one. And then there was another one. This is the button camera, which at 10 a.m. showed a middle of the night sky like the other two. And you could see stars in it as well. Not constellations like with the Montreux camera, but we can see a star there. And maybe others, but at least one star there. So this was the middle of the night sky. And then I don't have the 10:10 a.m., but I have the 11 a.m. image, which clearly shows that the sun had come up by then, or the sun simulation had appeared by then. So 3 cameras, same time frame, the same thing occurred. This was not, is impossible that it was due to the cameras. This is the sky simulation failing and turning back on at 10:10 a.m. Sometime here, we know it's between 10 and 11. Now I went back and I looked back at this particular camera, and it's still in the listing of cameras, but when I try and look for the images for January 14th, all of them are gone. They have been deleted. Now this is what you would expect to occur when the camera freezes, that the images are just not there. But in this case, we can see that clearly they were deleted. And the rest of the cameras were not on the listing at all. Now the question is, how does this sky simulation devices, which are needed to simulate the sky and simulate the sun, or even the artificial sun devices, remain suspended in our upper atmosphere? As I said, they have to be in the atmosphere. They're not in orbit because they must rotate with the Earth. Now, anti-gravity technology has been available since before the Second World War, as Nick Cook details in his book, The Hunt for Zero Point. Evidence shows that this technology came through reverse engineering alien technology. Now, wherever there is alien technology, there must also be aliens. In addition, whole cities have appeared within the clouds in the sky since October 2015. The first such appearance occurred in China, but several more appearances have occurred in other parts of the world. The official story is that these are mirages, but can mirages be photographed by so many people observing the phenomenon from different angles? If whole cities, most likely occupied by aliens, can float in the sky, it is very likely that so can all technology necessary to create a sky simulation. It thus seems likely that aliens are in charge of creating the fake sky. And here you can see a city floating in the sky. This was observed over China in 2015 by thousands of people. And another one of these floating cities, or perhaps even the same one, was observed in 2017 over China as well. Now, as you can see, the city looks much larger than a city on the ground would seem to be. And this is most likely due to the magnifying lens technology that is in operation in the sky. Which we saw with the airplane going through that simulation of the sun in figure 3. Now we also have reports of saucer-shaped clouds, as you can see 5 of them here. Now real clouds don't usually appear in this shape. If you saw one, you might think that's very strange, but when you see 5 in a row, that's a lot stranger. And it makes it very likely that these are indeed saucer-shaped craft, and they use cloud cloaking technology. Now, Andrew from the Boogeyman channel has come out with some good schematics of what these devices, which simulate the sky, may look like. Now, it is possible that this is how some of it works, but I tend to believe that the technology that is being used is more advanced than the technology shown in those schematics, which seem to be all possible in the 1990s. In article 419, Advanced Technology in Our Skies, I showed how some of the devices involved in the sky simulation move at 6 times the speed of sound. This speed is way beyond 1990 NASA technology. I think that floating cities and cloaked ships are an indication that aliens are in charge of the sky cities and the simulation technology, not humans. I think NASA is taking credit for it in order to cover up what is really going on. If each country or region has a sky city in charge of the sky simulation, then there would be a lot of sky cities in our atmosphere, and that means that we are dealing with large numbers of aliens in our atmosphere. There may even be some humans amongst them who may be told that they are off planet when they are really inside one of these sky cities. And here you see an image coming from a Boogeyman video, but the image is by Penwoodsman 2, and it shows what seems to be partially cloaked, densely populated cities in the sky, or a lot of devices used to simulate the sky. Now, the reason why the devices are in the Earth's atmosphere rather than in orbit is likely to be because the Planet X system stellar cores and their debris continuously come to the Earth. The huge amount of dust now filling the solar system is low in gravitational energy and will thus make anti-gravity drive systems inoperable. This may also be why this city started appearing. Their cloaking technology may have started failing as a result of an increased quantity of stellar core dust entering the atmosphere. The Sun and Sky Simulation program also fails now and then for the same reason. It failed in northern Russia for 3 hours in July 2018, and you may look at Article 291 entitled "The Sun Disappears, Day Turns into Night." As more and more stellar core matter enters our atmosphere, and as the objects remove more and more of our atmosphere, it is likely that these cities will eventually be forced down to the ground. And here you see a stereo HI-1A image showing one of the Planet X system stellar cores moving toward the Sun, surrounded and followed by a huge cloud of debris. Now, these objects started entering the solar system as comets at least 5,000 years ago and have thus filled the solar system with debris. And you may look at Article 424 entitled "Large Planet X Object and Large Debris Field May Endanger Earth." The sky simulation is clearly not enough to cover up the effects of the huge amount of stellar core dust and objects coming into the atmosphere as they emit bright colors of light. This is why chemtrails are used, but even these do not always cover up the colors, especially at sunrise and sunset, when the simulated sky has to have less light in it. There is usually less at night, but even then there is enough to create red light emitting clouds, some of which we see here. And this is a web camera view over the mountains in Switzerland and showing these clouds emitting red light. And this is of course not normal. You can see clouds lower down here emitting this orangey light, also not normal for the middle of the night. You can see all these stars in the sky, which are of course most likely simulations. Now here we see the sky over London. This is close to sunset. You can see the lights are on already, and you can see that it looks pink. This is clearly not normal. The clouds on Earth are supposed to be white or gray, not pink. But this is evidence that stellar core dust is entering the atmosphere and absorbing energy from Earth matter, which then emits light in these strange colors. So who are these alien beings who are hiding in cloaked cities in the skies and simulating our sky? The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6 verse 11 to 12, "Put on the whole armor of God, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places." What exactly are these heavenly places? Where are they? This was from the New King James Version. In the King James Version, this is translated high places. Yes, they are high. They are in high places, above the surface. They are in the sky, among the clouds. So in conclusion, it appears that several types of sky simulation technology are in operation in the Earth's atmosphere, both holographic projections of the sun, and physical devices simulating the sun and operating as artificial suns seems to be in use. And there may also be several different models. Each region seems to have its own set of simulation devices which appear to be in the atmosphere and must therefore use anti-gravity technology. The simulation system simulates the sun in the day and night sky. This has been made possible because of the sun going dark. The ones responsible appear to be aliens or beings that the Bible refers to as spiritual hosts of wickedness in heavenly places. Those are the references. This is Dr. Claudia Albers, Planet X physicist. Thank you for watching.